We got a lot to talk about. As I mentioned at the top of the hour, we besides our biweekly guest, Pastor Rojo Herrera, we also have in the studio two people who have been here before, but one person who is you can't see him. You can only hear him on a daily basis. And yes, I'm going to let him give you his what do we call this? His
announcement.
What do you call that? Your handle? Is that his handle? Is that you call it his handle when he calls? I don't know. His signature.
It's Aloha. It's great being here, Duke. Thanks.
Thank you,
JR.
Brett. Thank you. And of course, our other guest is Mr. Mark White. Thank you, Mark, for being here.
Oh, thank you, Duke.
Okay,
it's
so
great being here.
I'll let you start. We're going to refresh everybody's memory right now because you're going to talk about
Convention of States.
Convention of States. Remember that now. Convention of States.
That's right.
Okay, so go right ahead and let's
Yeah.
give a definition, or I should say a description of what Convention of States is.
Yeah. Well, in its simplest terms, the Convention of States is what I say is the last chance that we citizens have of gaining control over our out-of-control federal government.
Mm-hmm.
And it's done through a convention process that's identified in Article 5 of the Constitution. So Article 5, this is one of the shortest articles in the Constitution. It talks about how to propose amendments to the Constitution. And one of the ways that everybody knows about is that Congress can propose amendments,
Mm-hmm.
and then they send those proposals to the states to ratify. Well, guess what? The states can make their own proposals. They don't need Congress. They need a meeting, a formal meeting, a convention of states, literally.
Convention of States.
That's right.
Exactly what it says.
And that's all it is. And they just get together and they formally propose amendments. And then just as the other method, those proposals have to be ratified by states as well before they can be any part of the Constitution. So it's really a simple, safe process. But you know what? We've never done it before.
I was going to ask that
That's right.
question. Okay, so we've never, in the history of America, we have never, ever once utilized this method of amending the Constitution.
That's right.
Now, why is that? This is going to be your own personal opinion, I would assume, but go right ahead.
Well, let me state some facts.
Okay.
There have been hundreds, over 400 applications for a convention.
A Convention of States?
A
Really?
Convention of States
Wow.
by the various states, starting from the very beginning,
Mm-hmm.
1789. But they've never been all for the same reason.
Oh,
So because of that, then they were never aggregated together that would require Congress to call a convention. So calling a convention means just identify where to hold it and when to hold it.
Mm-hmm.
So until we get two-thirds of the states, 34 states,
requisite amount?
34 states have to ask for a convention. Well, they don't ask. They say, we request Congress call a convention for these reasons. And they have to be the same reasons in all 34 requests.
Okay, so that's a key. It
That's
has to
right.
be for the same reason. In
That's
other words,
right.
the same amendment.
Well, the same subject matter, the same amendment, the same purpose for
Okay.
having a convention.
Okay.
That's the whole
So
idea.
in other words, it could be on one side taxes and somebody
right.
saying, oh, no, I want term limits.
No, you can't do that. That's two separate requests, and they won't go together.
Okay.
So it's got to be all the same request, the same language, really,
Mm-hmm.
in 34 resolutions. And that's what a convention of states is. It's a collection of states meeting for a formal meeting for the purpose of proposing amendments under a specific set of subject matters.
Okay, so now you said they've tried this 400 times previously?
Well, states have issued requests for a convention, but only for dribs and drabs, a few here and a few there. In fact, the very first request for a convention of states was issued by Virginia. And Virginia listed 12, actually 17, amendments to the Constitution. And they said, we'd like to have a convention for all this. And James Madison, who was then the Bill of Rights.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
Did
Virginia,
not know that. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Virginia's request for a convention of states became the Bill of Rights.
The Bill of Rights.
That's right.
Wow. Interesting. So it actually has been used.
The request system is
No, I mean,
is very
technically the way it is,
robust.
but
exactly.
it has indirectly. It had a
Yeah, that's right.
indirectly, directly, however you want to describe it. It had a very significant role in our first 10 amendments, which is awesome.
That's right. Well, and the other thing I'd point out is that holding conventions, in other words, states getting together to meet on their own without Congress or without any other formal federal government involvement, that is very common in our early history.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, the last convention of states, a group of states meeting together to discuss things, was the 1921 Santa Fe Conference to decide the resources of the Colorado River. So 7 states got together at that meeting, and they said, look, we don't want the federal government telling us what to do with this water. We need to decide amongst ourselves. And in fact, the federal government said, well, look, we agree with you states meeting on your own, but we'll send a representative, and he'll just be there to watch. And so the federal government sent the then Department of Commerce secretary to the conference, and he was voted as the president of the conference. And for all intents and purposes, he let the states decide what they were going to do with the resources of the Colorado River.
Wow.
And that president of the Senate, that president of that convention was Herbert Hoover.
Really?
Yeah, and for all intents and purposes, like I say, he actually stayed out of the way. He didn't say, oh, the federal government won't let you do that. And they said, no, you guys are here to meet as states. You're one state, one vote. There are 7 of you here represented, and so you guys get to decide what happens with the Colorado
And that
River.
was, you say, the last significant attempt for a convention of states?
Well, it actually was a convention of states. It was a regional convention. It wasn't a national convention.
Okay.
But for all intents and purposes, the rules they followed were exactly the types of rules we would follow in today's convention of states when we have one.
Okay. So let's get into that if we can. Then we'll take a short traffic break, and when we come back, we'll get into where we are today with this convention of states and how we got there.
I'm Kona Chang in for Daniel Tucker today. If you're driving out to the west side, it's very slow. We had an earlier incident before the garden, so it's going to be slow. Stop and go through Halava and Waimalo out to Pearl City. Slow on the viaduct. Westbound as well. Eastbound on the H1, it's going to be slow through downtown Honolulu as you get out to Ward and Puno. It should start opening up for you. And a good drive over to the winter side on the Pali, Like and the H3.
Take your car off the naughty list and make it look nice and new for the holidays at Mako, Hawaii's auto body and paint shop. Give your Comet or Donner a complete makeover with half-off paint from now until the end of the year. Dash in Mako today or call 488-222-com to schedule your free estimate. Located in Pearl City behind Buzz's Steakhouse, Mako, turning the sleigh you drive back into the car you'll love again this holiday for just half the price. Some restrictions apply. See shop for details.
Are you in pain? Pain beyond what you can manage, even chronic pain, where it's affecting not just you but your loved ones too? Let us help you. Dr. Louis Powell at Oahu Pain Care is a premier interventional pain management practice. Dr. Powell is committed to working with you on pain-related issues that matter most to you. Even if it seems hopeless, Oahu Pain Care can help to restore your life. Call Dr. Louis Powell at Oahu Pain Care, 531-7222, 531-7222.
Looking to do good this holiday season? Every year, Lanakila Meals on Wheels volunteers deliver hundreds of hot holiday meals to homebound kupuna on Christmas Day. More than the meal, they bring a friendly visit, Christmas gifts, and handmade cards to let the kupuna know we care. Lanakila Meals on Wheels needs volunteer drivers to deliver meals the week prior to Christmas and on Christmas Day, as well as volunteers to package the holiday meals. Can't be with us on Christmas Day? No worries. Here are some of the items needed for the kupuna's Christmas gifts. Please, new items only. Drop off donations at Lanakila Meals on Wheels by December 14th. Lap blanket, full-size body towel, full-size toiletries, shampoo, body wash, lotion, toothbrush, and toothpaste, flashlights with batteries. Visit us at www.lanakilamealsonwheels.org or call us at 808-356-8519 for more information.
Well, it's time.
This land of aloha.
AM 940 KKME Waipahu, Hawaii. Streaming all traditional Hawaiian all the time at am940hawaii.com.
And that's not Dela Cruz.
That's right, Dela Cruz is now land.
Well, you know as well
Aloha
as
e Hawaii, o nei ka hola awina
signed
la,
2 committees.
hola e lima, 5 o'clock p.m.
Right. Oh, yeah.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are not necessarily those of this station and do not necessarily reflect the policies or opinions of Summit Media Corporation, LLC.
There's a certain way we do what we do, day by day, at work or play. silent.
Aloha kako. Welcome to 808 State Update. We are a provocative, inspiring talk story radio program brought to you by Mako Hawaii and its owner, Ryan Thornton. The 808 State Update is designed to engage and educate our 50th state about government, politics, civics, local, national, and world events and issues, all in an effort to encourage you to stay informed and get involved in the affairs of our state and country. From the downtown studios of Summit Media, join me, Duke Iona, and producer extraordinaire, JR, for another afternoon of 808 State Update. Aloha and welcome back to the 808 State Update. We got a great discussion going on here in regards to the Convention of States with Mark White and Brett Kobus. And when we left off at the last session, we were talking about just kind of a little bit of the history and what the Convention of States was all about. So now I wanted to move into, okay, so where are we right now in regards to, I guess, this current effort for a convention of states?
That's right.
And let me one more refresh. I want everybody their minds to be refreshed that Mark and Brett came on a few months ago when we were still in the legislative session. So that would have been the first quarter of the year of 2017. Then we just came back. When was it? About a month ago or 2 months?
It was 19th of October.
Okay, 19th of October with Mr. Tom Coburn, who is like the national spokesperson. Is that
Senior
a regular
advisor.
senior
Senior
advisor
advisor, yeah.
for the Convention of States? He was tremendous. He gave some really good information about it, but was very persuasive, very passionate about this. And of course, he's a former senator, U.S. senator, representative and senator, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that's right.
And was he? No, not governor. He wasn't governor of. Was it Oklahoma? Oklahoma, right?
He's from Oklahoma.
And of course, I'll never forget when I asked him. I mean, when he said why he is no longer in Congress, is because he's basically fed up. So he left.
That's right.
He left.
He couldn't be effective.
He left. Yeah. So he left and said, yes, he can be more effective this way. Exactly.
That's right.
So, I mean, okay, let that be an example, I hope, to some of our representatives in there right now. But I don't want you leaving because you can't be effective. I want you leaving because we don't need you. And yes, I am talking about our delegation. We don't need you guys. Leave. Anyway. And in particular, Brian Schatz and Tulsi Gabbard. But anyway, that's just my humble personal opinion. Of course, Mazie Hirono too. Colleen Anabusa's gone, but she's going to run for governor. That's another story. So anyway, I'm sidetracking. I'm digressing. I'm sorry. Anyway, Mark, go right ahead. Where are we with the Convention of States?
All right. Well, great. Well, since we've been on the air with you previous session, this year's session, we had 4 more states pass, and we're now up to 12 states. 12 states throughout the entire United States have passed the Convention of States resolution. The same resolution that had been filed in Hawaii's House and Senate in 2017 and 2016 too, as a matter of fact. And we have sponsors ready to go for 2018.
Wow.
And hope to get more sponsors this year than we had last year. Here in Hawaii, we had 10 representatives and 6 senators sponsor this resolution in 2017 session. And we look for that plus more.
We need a majority, right?
We do need a majority.
Okay. So we need quite a bit more.
Yes, we do. And so we're asking folks that are looking at helping us. We'd love to have you go to conventionofstates.com. Take a look at that website. By the way, brand new website coming online tonight.
Really?
Yeah,
how exciting!
The address stays the same. Still conventionofstates.com. It's going to have a whole new look. Going to have some interactive videos and active blogs right on the home page, blogs about what's going on in Hawaii.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
Right. That's
and
right.
That's a national website, correct?
That's right. It's a national website. And so let's say you're in California. You open up the website in California, you'll read blog about California. You live in Hawaii? You're going to read blogs about what's going on in Hawaii. Brett and I actually produce those blogs. So
wow.
It's right from the horse's mouth.
Okay. So you got 12 states. You said you picked up 4. Can you rattle those whole states off?
Sure. Let's see. We have Alabama, Alaska, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee.
Alaska?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Florida. Georgia.
Tennessee. Let's see. Indiana, Missouri, Texas, North Dakota, Arizona. Let's see. Help me out, Brett.
One more.
Oklahoma. Louisiana.
That's right,
Okay.
Oklahoma, Louisiana.
Okay. Wow.
So, and they are coming on strong. More states.
We got to get more Western states in there.
Yes, we do.
I wonder why the Western states are
Well,
not.
Yeah, you'll notice that.
Yeah.
Sure, many of those states are tend to be red states, so to speak. But it's not red or blue, Duke.
Not this issue.
No, it
not
really
at
isn't.
all.
Just imagine if you were living in the post-colonial. So let's say you were living in Virginia in 1789 when the Constitution was ratified. For you, your government would be the state government of Virginia. The federal government would be this little tiny group of people that was situated in New York that really didn't have much to do with your life at all. And that was the intention. There was no intention that the federal government would be so involved in your life as today. The state government was expected to be the predominant leading authority for your everyday life. Because why? You could influence the state government so much more than you could a federal government. And that is the intention of the Constitution. That's what it was intended to be. A limited government with whatever remaining power, most of it actually still remaining with the states. And that's actually why a convention of states is reasonable to be called, because it relies on the sovereign power left at the state level when they created the federal government.
So now, Mark, you said at the top of the show, top of this program, I should say, a convention of states, part of the reason why this will be, if you can get it to the 34 states, right?
That's
you need
right.
34 states. It has to be around one topic or one issue.
Yes.
And so what is the topic or issue right now?
That's right. The same subject matter has to...
Same subject matter, I'm sorry.
That's right. The same... the resolution in all 34 states has to have the operable language pretty much identical. And in our resolution, the one we're proposing here for Hawaii, along with other states, is a 3 subject matter area resolution. Here's the 3 subject matter areas that we are asking states to pass as a resolution. The first is calling for a convention to propose amendments that will impose fiscal restraints on the federal government. This means limit not only taxes, but limit spending. This is essentially a balanced budget amendment, but not just balanced budget. How do we get there? Through limited taxes and limited spending. The second area is a limitation on the power and jurisdiction of the federal government. Primarily, this means redefining some of the clauses that have been overinterpreted by the Supreme Court that has done what? These overinterpretations has created this huge bureaucracy that is not part of the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution is there anything for EPA, CIA, DEA, SEA, all these 3-letter alphabet bureaucrats, bureaucracies. This is the 4th branch of government that is not written in the Constitution. And this is what they make laws that are just as regulations that are just as effective as laws. They make more regulations than Congress makes laws every year, about 2 to 1, in fact. And the third area that we call for in our resolution is term limits. Not just for members of Congress, which everyone kind of understands what that is, but what about term limits for, well, look, we already have term limits for the president. We already have term limits for the FBI director. But what about term limits for judges, Supreme Court justices? What about EPA chief? Why should that be a lifelong appointment? When the Constitution was written, was ratified, judges appointed for life on the Supreme Court, those justices were expected to live about to 54, so they were appointed average age about 46, 47. So they would live a decade. Now they're living what? 40, 50 years sometimes? If they're young enough when they're appointed.
Yeah, we got some justices who are up there.
And so this is it. This is what we're talking about. So again, 3 areas that we're at that and only these 3 areas would be those areas at which proposals could be offered in our convention: fiscal limitation, limit power and jurisdiction of the federal government, and term limits for federal officials.
Okay, so that's where we're at. That's the resolution that was submitted last year. And
Right.
so what was the history? What was the history, or I should say, what was the fate of that resolution last year?
In both
Last legislative session, which was 2017. I should
it was
make that
last
clear.
January.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually submitted in March, but yes, last session, this year's session, both Typical. Okay, let's not hide the fact that this resolution is not popular with our legislative leadership.
I wonder why.
Right, neither the Speaker of the House nor the President of the Senate is
A supporter.
anxious. Yeah, neither of these are supporters. So, yeah, so
And
sure.
that includes the new, because we have since changed leadership in the House. So,
Especially the new Speaker,
which is
against
Scott
it.
Psyche, right?
Scott Psyche, and we can talk about why he's not friendly to this, but nonetheless. So the normal things happened. We found sponsors. Those sponsors actually found friends in their chamber that would help sponsor, co-sponsor with them, and they were filed at the, met the deadline for filing. And then what? They were assigned to committees, and they just sat there. These resolutions were never brought to a hearing, and essentially died at the end of the legislative session.
in either chamber.
In both chambers,
Okay.
that's correct.
So now, when you say it died, all it means is that it still has a shelf life of 2 years. Correct me if I'm wrong. No, resolutions don't.
Resolutions do not. You got to refile every year.
That's
Okay.
right.
So you're gonna have to refile it again this year.
That's right.
Now, have you lost any sponsors?
Not that we know of.
Well, yeah, we did. Sam Sloan.
Well, of course, we
Oh,
lost.
okay.
Yes,
Wow.
we lost
Yeah.
Sam Sloan from 2016.
Yeah.
Sam
Right.
Sloan was our original sponsor.
Okay.
So Brett is correct on that. And I'll be honest with you, we lost Clarence Nishihara, Senator Nishihara. He was a 2016 sponsor, but he declined to sponsor in 2017.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you picked up any?
We think so. Now, we don't have,
You don't have to tell who. because I know
politicians.
you-
Politicians are.
Aloof.
They don't like to announce a position until they have to vote.
Well, somebody described a politician once as a butterfly. They just float with the wind. So whichever way the wind is blowing, they're going to float that way. So if today the wind's blowing in favor, hey, I'm with you, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's right.
Okay. So anyway, we won't talk about it, but I know you obviously, you got some staunch. I know Bob McDermott on the House is a
Yes.
staunch supporter.
Well, I can't tell you who supported us.
Okay.
In 2017. So
Okay.
we had Sam Kong, Sam Brower, Romy Cachola, Dr. Cregan, Linda Coy, Cindy Evans, Bob McDermott, Speaker Emeritus Say, and of course Gene Ward and Andrea Topola.
Speakers say, wow.
Speaker Say supported us. In
okay.
fact, I'm meeting with him in another week
Great.
to hopefully gain his support again for next
Mm-hmm,
session. In the Senate in 2017, we had 6 senators, and let me point those out. Senator Gabbard was our prime sponsor. Senator Harimoto also was an introducer, Breen Harimoto.
Okay.
Willis Sparrow.
Willis Sparrow. Wow.
Yes, Lorraine Inouye from Big Island, Gil Rivera from
Okay.
North Shore area, and Glenn Wakai.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, in fact,
Well, I'm wondering about Willis Sparrow because he will be leaving
that's right.
to run for LG. So I'm wondering.
I'm not sure, and maybe those of you that know better than me, if he has to give up his.
He has to give up his seat,
See,
but
so-
he'll be in the legislative session, I
Right,
believe.
yeah,
He will be in the legislative session. So, but why I say, because remember I just described what somebody said about politicians, they float with the wind. He's now going to be running for a statewide, office, and these kinds of issues can come back and haunt you.
Well, he has some controversial legislation out there that has passed.
True.
And I'll be honest with you, he's a staunch supporter of what
Okay.
we're doing.
Great.
I don't really understand his full motivation, but I'm certainly glad to get his
No,
co-sponsorship.
so we need more, right?
Yes,
Obviously.
we do. Well, let me just say, I believe my senator from the Mililani area will also be sponsoring us this year, or co-sponsoring.
That's
That's
Michelle Kadani.
Michelle Kadani. That's correct.
Really? Interesting.
Haven't gotten my representative to come on board with us, Brian Yamane, but maybe we can talk him into it this year.
So that's what you and Brett are going to be doing for the next couple of months.
That is
Actually, we got 44 days. Legislative session opens in 44 days.
Okay.
So that's from today. So it's it's a lot of movement has to be done. A lot of meetings. Of course, we got until like March for them to actually file the resolutions. But we will be there opening day, going from office to office.
I mean, you've already
promoting
started,
our stuff.
right? You've already started.
Yes. Yeah, we've already started. Mark has already started visiting legislators already, the ones that will give them a call back and get them on their schedule.
The ones that'll give them a call back?
Yeah.
You mean there are some that won't call you back?
Oh, believe me. I have trouble even scheduling my own legislators. So there you go.
Isn't that?
Well, it is. Yeah,
that's very, very disheartening.
Well, when I get an appointment with the legislator, I make sure that I bring some friends with me, because it's not just Mark White that's involved in this. We have some 2,600.
Okay, let's talk about that right now.
Yeah, that's
go
right.
right. Okay, the last time we met. So you go again to conventionofstates.com. Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is where you not only, like you said, brand new website, you can blog, whatever you want to do, but this is where you get educated.
That's
you can
right.
find out a lot more about this, right? So
That's
you can
right.
really see it now. Now you can kind of just visualize it. And then you also can sign up, right? Okay.
Yes.
So let's take a quick break. We'll take a traffic break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit. We'll kind of get into that and we'll kind of close this up. But we want to talk about how you can get involved and, of course, the call to action.
It's Colin cheering in for Daniel Tucker today. If you're driving out to the west side, it's going to be a slow one, everybody. Bumper to bumper on Moanalua Freeway out through Aiea and Pro City. Even after the split, some slow traffic towards White Kelly. Slow on the H1 viaduct westbound as well. Eastbound on the H1 got...
I don't know if we were over 3 million when Dr. Coburn was here that he mentioned.
No, I don't know. You guys are over 3 million?
3 million supporters.
Wow.
And we're...
Jenny told me today it's 3.
Take your car off the naughty list and make it look nice and new for the holidays at Mako, Hawaii's auto body and paint shop. Give your Comet or Donner a complete makeover with half-off paint from now until the end of the year. Dash into Mako today or call 488-2222 or visit paintcarshawaii.com to schedule your free estimate. Located in Pearl City behind Buzz's Steakhouse, Mako, turning the sleigh you drive back into the car you'll love again this holiday for just half the price. Some restrictions apply. See shop for details.
Are you in pain? Pain beyond what you can manage, even chronic pain? Where it's affecting not just you, but your loved ones too? Let us help you. Dr. Louis Pao at Oahu Pain Care is a premier interventional pain management practice. Dr. Pao is committed to working with you on pain-related issues that matter most to you. Even if it seems hopeless, Oahu Pain Care can help to restore your life. Call Dr. Louis Pao at Oahu Pain Care, 531-7222, 531-7222.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Take your car off the naughty list and make it look nice and new for the holidays at Mako, Hawaii's auto body and paint shop. Give your Comet or Donner a complete makeover with half-off paint from now until the end of the year. Dash into Mako today or call 488-2222 or visit paintcarshawaii.com to schedule your free estimate. Located in Pearl City behind Buzz's Steakhouse, Mako, turning the sleigh you drive back into the car you'll love again this holiday for just half the price. Some restrictions apply. See shop for details.
By the way, I'm going to give this to you. I don't know if I gave you one before.
The 808 State Update, where we tackle the issues with your host, Duke Iona.
Join us on Mondays for Making Life Easier for Hawaii's Families with Pastor Roho Herrera. Join us on Tuesdays with Jack James. And on Wednesday, Mako Hawaii with its owner Ryan Thornton, and Legal Wednesdays with Babar and Jones. Thursdays, focus on faith and culture with Dr. Pat Zuckerin. And of course, on Fridays, Short Story in Hawaii with Anakala Hinano and JPG Hawaii with Joe Gideon.
808 State Update, here on AM 940, Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. We'll see you then.
Welcome back.
There we go. Welcome back to the 808 State Update. We are here in studio live with a couple of gentlemen who have put a lot of time and effort into, I guess you could say, a movement called the Convention of States. It's not something that is, how can I put it? It's not something that's been just created by a group of activists. It's something that, as we were talking off the air, as I described it, is something that's being American. Because it is a part of our Constitution, it's part of our fabric as a country, and of course it deals with real issues that we have here in America. And you named it. The resolution will call for 3 subject areas. One is, of course, term limits. The other is about, I guess, a balanced budget, right?
Right, fiscal restraint.
Isn't that something that's really, wow, I just can you grasp that concept?
Yeah, dude,
so
$20 trillion debt.
We don't spend more than what we take in. And this is why this tax reform bills that are going through, I mean, people, the talking point on the other side is, yeah, they're going to increase the deficit by $1 trillion over 10 years. And I just said, well, okay, let's just think this through. If you're going to have a tax cut or tax reform, that means you're taking away taxes. That means less revenue. If you don't deal with the other side of the ledger, then don't deal with it at all. Don't deal with it all. I would hope they have enough savvy to understand that.
At least initially, in the first couple of years of the tax reform, you don't do anything or you need to do something with the other side, the spending side of it. But eventually, the thought is that as the less taxes, more jobs will become available, and you increase your actual tax base.
And that's the other aspect of it in regards to it's a measure to really stimulate the economy and increase that. But you still have to deal with the spending side. I don't care what.
Absolutely.
And of course, they're using this as the opposition again, which is mainly the Democrats, who are saying, yeah, this is their way to get rid of Social Security and Medicare. Well, I want one person, I mentioned this with Pastor Ro, I want one person to disagree with me and say, yeah, everything with Social Security and Medicare is fine. We don't have to do anything. We just let it go and it's fine. I want somebody to tell me that. And if you do call and you say it's fine, then you better be able to explain yourself, because that means I missed something along the way. And a lot of other Americans miss something along the way, because those two systems are not fine.
No.
Something has to be done. Okay? It has to be done.
And that's the point of a convention of states that will address fiscal restraints on the federal government. That's exactly the point.
And then the third subject area was
limiting the power and jurisdiction of the federal government.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah, basically it means reducing the impact of bureaucracies on our lives. That's really what it boils down to. That's what you and I would experience here at state.
So how many of you have applied for a permit? A building permit.
There you go. That's the whole point.
That's part of bureaucracy.
I mean, how long did that take to get done? If you want to, if you're a developer here in Hawaii.
Right. How many of you have gone to the DMV?
And it's just an example of the types of things we're talking about.
It is.
That's
It's
right.
bureaucracy. I mean, you're right. You mentioned it, how we have an EPA chief, we have a CIA director, we have all of this stuff, which is not part of the Constitution, but was created over time. And the federal government is like voluminous. And who really runs the government?
Well, that's it. And we tend to look at government today as like like a continuum. It starts at local level, then the next step up is state level, then the third step up is federal. And there's sort of like a ladder of progression. That's not the plan. That's not what's called in the Constitution. It's the states on one side, the federal government on the other side. And what we want to do is restore this balance between the two. That's true federalism, in that a federal government, central government that does very few and specific things, and the states and the people do the rest. People have the power to make decisions. It's all about who decides.
So where are we right now locally? So okay, we gotta, as Brett said, we gotta reintroduce the resolutions.
Yes, we have to reintroduce. I'm really excited about coming into 2018 because we got the four more states signed on board. We're rolling out a new website, as Mark said. I don't know if you knew this the last time. We had over 3 million supporters and volunteers nationwide. We are growing. I think Mark put it out over the on the break that our volunteer organization is bigger than the Salvation Army. I think he said
more volunteers than the Salvation Army.
So and we're even growing locally.
Right. Tell us about that, Brett.
Since the last time we've been here, I think we've increased between 400 and 500 people, supporters and volunteers. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I don't know if people have seen the PragerU.com video, How the States Can Save America. It's a Convention of States video that PragerU has put out. That's gotten over 10 million hits.
Wow.
People have viewed it. So there's a lot of things going on. Since we were last here, Ben Shapiro, who is the #1 conservative podcaster in the country, has come on board to support Convention of States. And we also got Turning Point USA on board to support us. And that is a critical piece to getting to the millennials and the younger generation about this process. Because Turning Point USA is in 600 college and 600 high school campuses across the nation. So that's a big big get for us as far as supporters of this this process and whatnot. So it's very exciting. So we've asked the question, what can people do to get involved? Well, as we talked about it offline, you need to go to www.conventionestates.com. Learn about what the convention of state process is. All the information is there. All the questions you could ask is there with the answers. There's a plethora of information. Then what you need to do is sign your petition. Sign the petition, and what that does is that petition puts you in our volunteer petition signing database. It also will send that petition to their legislator saying that they support Convention of States both on the Senate side and the House side, that they support the Convention of States, and they encourage their senator or House of Representative member to support it.
Yeah, a lot of people in Hawaii they're kind of afraid to sign a petition, and they think it's somehow they're going to get their name on a database that maybe the IRS is going to do something or something like that. No, it just stays within the state. And by the way, Brett and I, as volunteers, we've sworn through confidentiality agreements not to abuse this data. So when someone signs our petition here in Hawaii, all it does is it sends an email to their state senator and their state House member that says, hey, Mr. Representative, Miss Senator, I support Convention of States, and I would like you to do the same thing. And that sends a strong message when enough people start doing that. Well, like I say, we already have 2,600 people in Hawaii that have gone online and expressed their interest in Convention of States.
That have signed the petition?
Well, about 2/3 of those have signed our petition. So we're
Wow.
looking for more people to sign petitions.
That is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. And that's a great website if it does that. I can tell you that.
And so, and then if they really are encouraged to get involved, there's places on the website where they can sign up to volunteer, whether it's being a district captain, which basically does the same thing at the district level, or whatever other volunteer positions that are on there. Or they can go out and tell 10 of their friends. That's really what we'd like them to do. Tell their friends, 10 of their family members, ask them to get on and sign the petition and let their legislators know. And then, we got volunteer support positions from a state level down to the bare grassroots level, where all we ask you to do is, when we put out that our resolution is in, that you contact via email, via mail, via phone call, or if you're so inclined, go down and visit your legislators and tell them you support the Convention of States, the resolution that's being presented, and ask them to get on board with supporting it. And that's really what we're looking for people to do. And so it's an exciting time. And as Dr. Coburn said when he was here, he doesn't think we're going to get to the 34 states, that the federal government will take action before then.
Yeah.
But just watching these states roll in, and this isn't a Democratic, this isn't a Republican issue, this is an American issue, like you said. And I don't want to be known as the great prognosticator or whatever, soothsayer, but when 2016, when we were going through the election, everybody talking about who can fix the government, and a lot of the Donald Trump supporters he's the man to do it. Yeah, he probably is the man to do it. Unfortunately, the fourth rail of government, the unelected bureaucrats and you see it happening now with all these pushes against what he's trying to do for our country, and these unelected bureaucrats. I mean, look what happened to that credit bureau, where the outgoing guy assigns the new person.
That was pretty.
That was pretty bold. But this just goes to prove that the people in Washington, D.C. don't have the willpower or the backbone to do what is necessary to support, to fix what is wrong with our country.
Okay, so we come back. Just going to do the station break, man. Come back.
Aloha e Hawaii. Oneia kahola awina la hapulu hola iliwa 5:30 p.m.
Welcome back to the 808 State Update. We'll go right back into it. We're going to wrap this up with Brett Kobus and Mark White. This is, of course, we're talking about the Convention of States. And for those of you who tuned in late, you maybe didn't get all of this, you can always go to
conventionofstates.com.
Okay, and I guess it's an interactive website. It'll give you all the information you want, get you educated. Hopefully, it'll motivate you also, so you can get involved.
There's all kinds of resources on that webpage. It's going to be brand new here
tonight, right?
It flips over tonight.
There you go.
So the address stays the same, still www.conventionofstates.com. It's going to be interactive. You'll be able to look at videos. You'll be able to learn more about what Convention of States is, how it got in the Constitution, and what it really means for us as citizens. And as Brett mentioned in the last segment, Washington has proven they just cannot make decisions there that benefit the people. But you know what? We don't need Washington. We need the states to get together, because the states is where, Duke, you and I, we can go talk to our state representatives. We can go talk to our state senators. We can't talk to our federal representation.
You're absolutely right about that.
That's right.
You're absolutely right about that.
So the states is where the decisions need to be made for our lives, not the federal government. And that's what we're all about, is who decides. We decide, we the people. It says so right in the Constitution. And we've allowed our federal government to get way too big. It's got certain roles it's supposed to fulfill within our country, and it's just way beyond that today. And our $20 trillion debt shows you that.
Absolutely. So, Brett, you want to kind of close for us? And besides the website, once again?
The website is www.conventionofstates.com. We also have a Facebook page. It's at COS Project Hawaii or COS Project HI for Hawaii. But you can go on either of those places. You can find all the info, like Mark said, all the information you want. But we encourage you to sign the petition, get involved. This is not just a one-time thing. We need to make changes to our federal government, and I would hate for my generation to be the first generation to leave our posterity worse off than we were left by our fathers and grandfathers.
My one observation in regards to so people don't feel like, well, gee, we're never going to get this done in Hawaii. Well, I beg to differ, because this is a movement. So it's a movement that's a national movement.
It is.
So, if you didn't hear it earlier, Brett and Mark said that on a national level, they have more than 3 million volunteers and people who are signing up on this petition.
That's right.
That's a lot. And what that shows is, because it's grown over the last year, is that there's momentum going. And as Tom Coburn said, and I think he hits a point here, is that you may never need this, because when Congress sees this movement coming, they don't want to get embarrassed. They do not want to get embarrassed. And so they'll probably move on this or take action on this before they can get embarrassed by a convention of states. Because it is embarrassing if there's a convention of states. Because it just shows you're not doing your job.
Well, you're absolutely right. A convention of states is the institutional rival of our Congress. That's actually what it is in this instance.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And so state legislators need to realize that they actually have a responsibility above that which they have at state level. They actually have a responsibility to guard against the overreach of the federal government. And this is how they do it.
Exactly. So everybody, let's get with it, get educated. I hope we brought you some knowledge today for those of you that caught us earlier. But if you didn't, it's all on the website, conventionofstates.com. And as Brett and Mark have said, there is momentum here in Hawaii. Over 400 new volunteers in the last, few months. We got a new legislative session coming up. I'm sure more are going to sign up. And I just love the fact that once you sign that petition, it goes automatically to your legislator. I think that's great. I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Anything you want to say in closing?
Thank you for having us on. We really appreciate it.
We'll do this again. Absolutely.
All right.
We will definitely do this again.
It's time for the people to stand up. There's a lot of powerful videos on our website. And one of them was a legislator standing up saying, what am I going to tell my grandkids Well, when they ask me, well, what did you do while the federal government went awry? And he wants to be able to say, I stood up and fought for you. So it's one of those things. So www.conventionestates.com or COS Project HI on Facebook.
Brett Colvis, Mark White, Convention of States, mahalo.
It's Colin Chang in for Daniel Tucker today. If you're driving